Welcome to this episode of the Outfront Podcast with host Vince Noble, the podcast that gives emerging leaders and career transitioning individuals the information and inspiration to thrive and become their best. For sponsorship and advertisement opportunities, please contact info@nobleresolutions.com. And now, your host, Vince Noble.
I want to acknowledge each and every one of you who is stepping into your authentic power today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Outfront Podcast. I am your host, Vince Noble. Hey, I am super excited today. We have with us, as part of this special Veterans Day episode, Mr. Sylvester Jenkins, a retired United States Army First Sergeant. Sylvester, since his retirement, has become an amazing published author and highly sought after diversity and resiliency speaker. This is truly a special episode. Nothing prides a leader more than to see those he or she has, spent some time coaching and training and mentoring to achieve their very best. And so Sylvester, and I had this relationship more than 20 years ago. Knowing how excited I am today, there's no words that can truly express my joy and satisfaction on today. And so we caught up with him today to talk about his latest book, Winning the Battle Within, his transition from military service around the time of the beginning of the pandemic. We're going to talk about a little bit of that. And now his new mission to share his universal blueprint on mental toughness and resiliency. As always, before we get started with these extraordinary conversations, I want to say, as much as I love how intellectually stimulating they are meant to do far more than pique our intellect. They are meant to drive us into meaningful action. So as you listen, our guests are not solely on this show to promote themselves, their services, or products. However, in large part, to provide significant insight and actionable steps to encourage you, thereby helping to shift you from one level to the next. So I encourage you to listen and to think about how you may be positively impacted in some way. No matter who you are, it is my greatest hope that you find tremendous value in today's episode. We certainly have a lot to unpack in this episode, so let's go.
Shouts out to Vince Noble. What up? That's the big homie. Help me stack when my pockets was flat. Now I got a grip on me. Information, motivation, inspiration. Make sure that you avoid elimination. Renovation of your finances. I done had more than 5 chances. Vince got more than 5 answers. A celebration, let's hire dancers. All this good game you bet not bypass. Out front, yep, that's the podcast.
Sylvester, welcome to the show today.
Hey, thank you, Vince. I'm truly honored to be here today, and thank you so much for having me.
It's truly his pleasure is all mine, brother. So, Sylvester, for those who may not know you, tell us, a little bit about yourself, your early life influences growing up, and what has brought you to the work you so passionately do today.
Absolutely. So I consider myself to be God's greatest form of creation. I'm a husband. I'm a father of 4, retired Army veteran with 21 years of service. I'm an author, inspirational speaker, and mental health advocate. What I do is I empower the next generation to become resilient leaders that triumph and succeed in life by winning the battle within. I'm originally from Columbus, Georgia, but currently I reside in Clarksville, Tennessee. I was raised in a single-parent home. As a child, I think my biggest influence was my older brother. He took on a big responsibility at an early age, and he was the closest thing I ever had to a father. What brought me to what I do today is me just wanting to change the narrative. There's so many young people out there in this world today that just doing what it takes to just to survive. And they suffer from emotional, academically, and also socially. So who better to give them that sense of hope than someone who's been there not only been through it, but grown through it as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a wonderful story. So, Sylvester, I have to ask, how are you and your family doing, doing what I call this mental marathon, as well as, I think your transition from the military was right around the same time that, we were entering into this pandemic. So, what do you find most challenging, and more specifically, how are you dealing with it?
Wow. So that's a great question. So for me and my family, we're just continuously evolving. We learn so much about ourselves dealing with just being on lockdown, and just learning how to reevaluate our circumstances, our relationships, especially for me, being transitioning from the military as a husband, as a father. I found myself during the transition, the biggest challenge that I faced was that sense of security. Being in the military, you get paid on the 1st and the 15th, and just having that huge chunk of change, and then also just being able to have some type of stability along that journey. So for me, I went through a lot mentally in 2019 that put me in a position to actually go through the motions of retire. I transitioned like exactly when the pandemic hit. Like my retirement ceremony was in March, and then going from that point to from what I figured was going to be a huge ceremony to a 5-minute speech. The way I've been handling it is by gaining financial literacy, and then also using what I call the 4 canteens of life. You know that your body is consistent of water. Majority of your body is consistent of water. So I came up with this analogy by using these 4 things, these 4 canteens, which is mental, physical, social, and spiritual canteens, in order to help you to reflect those things that you might deal with, like stress and anxiety. So, when you think about the mental canteen, you think about like what you feed your brain is just as important as what you feed your body. So you want to make sure that you're watching a lot of things that's going to help you prevent those things from stress, or just, put you in a sunken place. So you want to make sure that you have the right mental picture along your journey. And then the physical, we all know physical fitness is a great way to actually provide oxygen to the brain and release that happy hormone called endorphins. And then that social, everybody needs somebody that they can count on, somebody that they can call on whenever they find themselves in their lowest point. So I say a social canteen is good because you want to call on those people in order to get you through certain things that you deal with in life. And then that spiritual canteen. So some people might find like yoga or meditation as a way to have some type of spirituality. But by using these 4 canteens, you'll be able to really reflect a lot of things that you go through in life. So that's pretty much how I've been dealing with my transition and everything else that's been going on.
Absolutely. That's absolutely amazing. So Sylvester, what would your advice be, having gone through those experiences and those mental and psychological and financial dips that you incurred, right at the beginning of the pandemic as you was transitioning from the military? What would your advice be, looking back on that, to other senior leaders that's preparing to depart the service in the next 12 to 24 months?
I would really tell them to make a plan. Don't wait. Because a lot of times we wait until the last minute in order to do a lot of things that would be beneficial for us, especially dealing with our health. Seek mental health, really go in there and focus on your medical records. Take the opportunity to focus on your finances, dealing with your transition, and also seek those jobs that you are looking for, because the language that we use in the military is not the same language that's used when you transition out of the military. So go on YouTube and look up some of the interview questions that they might have, research a lot of the jobs that they might seek, and then also just take the opportunity to focus on you, because you're going from one position to a next. You will no longer be first sergeant, sergeant major, sergeant first class, or whoever it might be. Now you will really become that person that you initially started out to be. You're transitioning from being a soldier back to a civilian, and you spend so long in the military that you're just programmed to a point where you're constantly a soldier. So I would tell them to really take time to focus on themselves, especially that last year.
Absolutely. So, coming out of all of that, and now moving forward, as Mr. Jenkins, still, what are some of those key things that make you, that separate you from everyone else? Sort of, what are those strengths and gifts that you show up with that cause you to strive every day?
So for me, it's my heart, my tenacity, my grit, that fortitude, a never quit or can-do attitude. There's two things that everyone wants in life, and that's success and happiness. But a lot of people are not willing to stick with the process in order to achieve it. The Bible says the harvest is plenty, but the workers are few. I'm one of those workers that are still out there grinding in order to make sure I'm able to achieve that success and happiness.
Absolutely. So as this, published author and motivational, inspirational speaker, was it something you've always, seen yourself doing before you exited the military, or what? When did that come about?
Never. I never seen myself doing any of this stuff that I'm doing right now. As a teenager, I failed multiple times at school. I even had one of my English teacher tell me that I wasn't college material. So I felt unworthy in a lot of things that I'm doing now. My first couple of years in the military, my leaders talked about the way that I spoke because I was using urban dialect, and I sounded like character. They said that I needed caption whenever I opened my mouth. So honestly, for me, in transitioning from the military, I see myself just doing a blue collar job, working at a maintenance technician for a car dealership.
Wow. But it's amazing what vision could do for a person. Once you develop seeing yourself from a different lens, that's amazing, really, what it could do for your psyche.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Sylvester, I tell people all the time, we're in this season. We're all in this season still, as you spoke to. That I believe we're still all in this season of evolving and evolution, of growth and progress, like many of us have never experienced. So we really are charged with looking at ourselves, taking a personal, honest assessment and inventory of ourselves in order to move forward in a world in which we've never known. And so people are experiencing different levels of anxiety because of that. People are saying to themselves, I want the old way back. I wish it was the old way. And, there is still, much resistance with how we must, sort of reinvent our professional as well as our personal lives. So in this new world we are in, most of it is here to stay. What are some principles and approaches that you could recommend, that will help individuals kind of set themselves well through the continued difficult times?
Yes, I truly agree with everything that you just said as far as evolving and changing. For me, I would recommend that people just increase their level of adaptability. By doing this, I tell them to use the 3 R's: reflect, release, and routine. Reflect, release, and routine. By reflecting, you got to understand that change is a part of life. I came through an era where we was using 8 tracks, tapes, CDs, and MP3 players. So now you can do all this from your phone. So change is inevitable. It's going to happen. And release. You got to release those old habits because they're no longer beneficial for your growth. So you just have to let it go. And then just come up with a routine, a healthy routine that can improve your focus and productivity. All these things doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of effort. I won't lie about that. But in order to see better, you have to do better.
Absolutely. And, you said a very important thing about, reflection or time to reflect. I think that's one of the most important things that we could do even now is, finding the opportunity to cut away from the crowd and time to just reflect.
Right.
It's so very important. So, hey, Sylvester, talk to us about, your latest book, Winning the Battle Within. What was your inspiration for the book?
So Winning the Battle Within. So for multiple years, I felt as if I was going through a never-ending storm, like the sun would never shine again. I suffered along my childhood and young adult years from abandonment, emotional neglect, self-esteem, drugs and alcohol, divorce, combat, and also bereavement. And for a number of other things, in experiencing this, I realized there was only one thing that I can control, and that was me. And in doing this, your perception can affect your performance. But you can never win the war on the world if you can't win the war on your mind. So
that's right.
So it's a go-to guide, a real short read that just filled with life experiences, research, and strategies in order to help people get to that next level and win the battle within.
Absolutely. So from your perspective, what are some of the pitfalls that, you believe people think they need to become better or to do or to become more resilient, if you will, but just isn't true?
That you have to, for as far as resilience, a lot of people feel as though they have to experience some type of extreme hardship in order to develop that, or that thinking that that resilience is truly ignoring the problem. And
right.
It's not. It comes with. It involves your behavior, your thoughts, your actions, and this is something that anyone can learn. And it's actually a processing your feelings and moving forward, not just sitting on it and just let time take its course on it.
Absolutely. So what are some tips and strategies, would you recommend, or some actionable steps to take that person to where they want to be? They're desiring to sort of set themselves apart to become this mentally strong, resilient leader. What would you recommend to them?
I would recommend that they develop emotional intelligence. So many people don't know about emotional intelligence, but it consists of just having self-awareness, self-regulation, social skills, and it's truly being the thermostat and not the thermometer. It's so many times that we go through life and we react to the people that we encounter. And instead of just controlling our environment like a thermostat, we sit there and just react to the same way that the people are reacting to us. So I would tell people to gain a strong level of emotional intelligence. And then I'll also tell them to turn on their GPS. And GPS is an acronym that I came up with, and it's not using your phone. It's not using the system in your car in order to get from point A to point B. It's actually using goals, purpose, and a strategy. Because once we know our goals and we understand our purpose and we have a strategy in order to achieve them, there's no reason why we can't reach our destination. And then another thing I would tell people to do is find a mentor, somebody who's already been there and done that, in order to help you get to that next level that you're trying to strive and succeed in.
Absolutely. So looking back over, 20 plus years of your, military service, if you had a chance to sort of start your career over again, what would you do differently?
What I would do, honestly, I wouldn't do anything. I think all those things that I faced were meant to get me to the point that I am today. I feel like adversity is the fuel to greatness, and you can never grow if you're not stretched.
Absolutely. So what have been, I would say, some of, your most difficult challenges, if you will, to sort of overcome, while you was in the military? I
think the most difficult for me was during the time when I was initially stationed at Fort Bragg. I had went through a lot of enduring dealing with a relationship that I had. I was engaged to be married, and she cheated on me and got pregnant by somebody else. And then and in the result of that, I had looked for other ways to suppress the pain that I was dealing with. So I resorted to drugs and alcohol. I had started drinking constantly, so it affected my work ethic, if you want to say. And then in the process of that, I received an Article 15. So it was just one thing after another. And after I received that, Article 15, the love of my life just left me, you know, got pregnant by somebody else. This was somebody I was planning to spend the rest of my life with. I was just in a rut. And, you know, while you're on extra duty, you don't have nothing but time to reflect and focus on yourself.
Right.
That's what I did. And in the process of that, I said, the only person who can get me out of this is me. Can nobody else help me through this but me? So I started just really focusing on myself and just trying to do things in order to help me to grow and be better. But I know if I never did that, I would have always felt as though I was worthy of some of the things that I received and would never put in the work to strive to be better than where I was at.
Yeah, that's awesome right there. That's awesome, Sylvester. And so, hey, first of all, thank you for sharing that with us today as well. And so, I always say, even from a biblical perspective, that I believe that the greatest Bible thing is it doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish.
Absolutely.
And so we don't allow, those mistakes in our lives, and they will occur. No one's perfect, but we don't fall down, and it's not to sound cliche-ish in any way, but we don't fall and we just stay there. But we figure it out. And so that's really what this is all about, is experiencing, difficulty and hardships along the way, and you figure it out. Right. And you develop the mindset of, I'm going to figure it out. It's the mindset is really what it is. And so that there's nothing more powerful than a made up mind.
Right.
And I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yes, I do too. I always tell people that one chapter does not define your story.
Absolutely. So if you had a magic stick, what are the three things that you would change in the world today?
I would think I would change education, because I feel like if they change the curriculum, there's a lot of things that's in there that are still continuing to be learning from when I was in school. And these are not learning skills that would be beneficial in life. I think I haven't used a lot of the U.S. history that I learned. I haven't used a lot of the mathematics as far as geometry and above. But I feel as though as we focused on like financial literacy, because I had no clue what financial literacy was until I was adult, until I was a husband.
Right.
And I think if we focus on mental health, because there's so many kids that are dealing with these issues and they don't know why. They don't know how to express themselves. They don't know certain things in order to communicate in this environment. So I think those are some of the things that they should include in education. So education would be one. Healthcare would be another, just due to the fact that I've noticed since the pandemic and we started to share this vaccine for free, that a lot of people that are dealing with healthcare issues, like like my mother, she was unable to work. She was disabled right before she passed, and she had a lot of medical bills due to hospitals and things like that. So it was just like, if we're able to provide this vaccine, which is beneficial for everybody to continue to live and grow in life, why can't we do this just in general when it comes down to people healthcare that are really suffering, that's unable to pay these bills, these medical bills, these doctor bills? And I'm sure there's more to it, but that would be beneficial for me. This is something that I would change in this world. And then also just poverty. And I understand that some people have so much going on that they haven't took the opportunity to look in some of these things, but I think those would be the three that I would change.
Absolutely, my brother. So listen, Sylvester, a huge part about this show, it's about positive winning mindsets, about being resilient, about demonstrating mental toughness and learning to face adversity, all while continue to lead, live, and win and inspire next level achievement. And so I believe you truly embody what this show is all about. And I certainly thank you for your transparency as what you have shared with us on today. So what can we expect to see from you 2022?
Absolutely. So first off, it's been truly an honor and a pleasure. I am so grateful to have this opportunity again. It's truly been humbling in so many ways, just from where we started out to where we are today.
Absolutely.
Some of the things I would just, for me in 2022 is to continue spreading my message of hope to help the next generation. And then also just I'm coming out with a new book called From Combat to Come Back. It's a book dealing with my life story and also talking about techniques and strategies in order to help you make it through adversity that you deal with in life, because I believe that adversity is one of the things that can get you to that next level that you're trying to succeed in, and also help you to come back in a greater way.
Hey, that's awesome. I love that title. When you said that, that almost made me jump off my seat over here. And so from combat to come back, right. I see a conference. So I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. And we need to connect, later on.
Yeah.
But I see, not necessarily in support of your book,
right?
But hey, let's tag that up, and hey, we can take this on the road. I see some growth and some development workshops and some conferences, not only for service members that are departing and finding themselves needing some more information and inspiration, but also just, your kids that's out there on the block, from combat to comeback.
Right.
Because, contrary to popular belief, a lot of, they see themselves in combat.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everybody experiences some level of combat. It might not be in actual war in Afghanistan or Iraq, but the streets, their lives, relationships, everybody experiences some type of combat.
That's right.
I want to help them to know that they can come back in a stronger way, not only in those environments, but just in life in general.
Absolutely. So, hey, brother, let's tag that up. Yeah, I love it. So hey, Sylvester, before we go, how can people connect with you? Some of the other things you're doing, either online or through social media.
So they can reach me at my website at www.sylvesterjenkins.com, or you can just reach me on any social media platform, Instagram, LinkedIn, any of those other platforms that's out there currently under Sylvester Jenkins III.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, hey, Sylvester, once again, thank you today on this special Veterans Day episode. I salute you, my friend. Thank you for your service to the nation. It has certainly been a pleasure back then, and even more so now. And we look forward to seeing and hearing from you soon. So come back and check on us soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for your service and everything that you're doing for this great nation. I truly appreciate this again, and I look forward to hearing from you soon as well.
Thank you, my friend. Take care.
Take care.
We certainly hope that you enjoyed today's episode. So make sure to join our Facebook group, Out Front with Vince Noble. And don't forget to comment, rate, share, and subscribe on the Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to download your podcast. Until next time, remember, you still get to write your own life story.